Hi guys and welcome back here. So what we're going to be doing today is finishing off the collision system into our engine, right? So I talked about in the last lesson about setting up the materials. We create variables. We know how to use the begin play, how to use the construction script. We know what more or less how to create, things that we on spawn. So what we're going to actually do here is they're going to be talking about creating, let's say, option to enable or disable collision, right? And what we're going to be doing is that if we collide with something, we can probably delete the object or something like this, right? So what we're going to be doing here is that we are going to go to our object here, right? And we're going to go back to our sphere. You also have events here. But for these kind of things that we're trying to do, what I recommend you doing is creating a sphere. So we're going to search for a sphere and collision, right? And we're going to increase the radius of the sphere to, let's say, 300 for now. And what we would like to do here is that I want to, when I touch a cube, I want to be able to, let's say, delete the cube. So what we can do is that we can try to be clever. When I touch a cube that is not the same color as mine, I can try to delete that cube. You know, very simple thing. So to do that, when you add a collision, you can go here to the events. So you have on hit, beginning overlap, end overlap, on awake, on sleep. So you have a bunch of items here when you click, for example, when you touch. The list goes on. And you even have like mobile, ray tracing. So you have a bunch of items here that you can use. But the one that we want to focus, it's on the begin overlap, right? Now, what we can do here is that we can do a print and we can get the other actor, right? We're going to compile and save. And let's see what happened. You see, we have a list of the names there. Now, one thing I need to do here is that I need to get the reference of the other actor, right? And here's something that I haven't talked that much, but we can actually, in real time, get a reference of the actor we are trying to touch, and we can get his, let's say, variables or whatever is accessible, and we can use it to do logic on our own component. How do you do this? Simple. The other actor, we're going to cast to BP spawn actor. On this case, we are casting to himself, but we're going to be casting to the spawn actor, right? And I know that the other actor has a sphere, so I'm going to get sphere, right? The sphere one, which is fine. No, actually, I'm just going to call main mesh. I'm just going to call this main mesh. So I'm going to grab from main mesh, right? Perfect. And remember, this one is the reference of the actor I am touching. It is not the actor, not self-reference. All right. Now I'm going to get the material. Get the material. And what I can do is that if the material that I'm going to get from myself, so get material, are the same, so we're going to just do equal that. I'm going to create a branch. Right? If it's the same, we are safe, right? So I don't do anything. Otherwise, what I can actually do is that I can get the actor and I can destroy the actor. But before I destroy the actor, I just want to make sure I can actually destroy something that is valid. So I'm gonna is valid, and basically this tells us that is this actor something that it exists. And when I press play, let's see what happened. You see, I only have blue there. So what ended up happening probably is that at the moment when we spawn, the blue takes it dominates the whole thing, right? So what I can do is that we can now play with a couple variables. So for example, now, you see, when I try to edit the spawner, I do not have a couple of variables available here because they're not public. So I can edit the blueprint. I can go back here to the spawn, and I can make sure the spawn rate is public. Now what I can do is that I can do something like every 1 second you spawn something. And now let's see what happened. So 1, 2, so now it's red, perfect. So red again, nice. Red again, red again, and it keeps spawning. So another thing we can actually do here is that we can try to maybe put it higher so it doesn't stack up. So in this case, it never stays, right? So we can actually do is 2 seconds. Okay, fine. You see, they annihilate themselves, which is really cool. Now we only have the blue. You see that one deleted all the axes. It's quite cool, right? If you see it, and we can actually, you know, go back here and we can change now. For example, I don't have the max items I want to spawn. I can actually do that. I can go back here and spawn, and now I can close all this stuff. I can pass like 500. And now you kind of have a game, right? Now you have something that spawns 500 cubes every time, and you can kind of predict more or less what's going to be the last cube here, right? And that's basically how you spawn things into your Unreal Engine. And the last thing I want to talk about it, which is very important as well, is that when you're spawning things and you want to pass parameters, so for example, right, I am going to have this spawn actor here, right? I'm going to create another one, and I'm just going to copy and paste. And this one here, I am going to call this spawn actor test. Okay, I'm going to open up the test one. I'm going to delete all this logic because I don't really necessarily need this right now. I can delete everything. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a material, right? And this is going to be a material make sure it's an object reference, make sure it's public, and the most important thing of all, expose on spawn. And I'm going to explain what happened. Now let's just go back here to our event graph, and we are just going to basically delete this stuff and make sure we pass the material right here, right? We're going to leave it empty in purpose, but now look at this. What I want to do is that when I don't touch the actor, also on the spawn test, let's just change this to be cylinder, right? Right. When this happens, it means that it hasn't touched, it is the same color. I want to spawn an actor from the class, and this class is going to be spawn test. So we're going to put it here, and look what happened with the spawn. You see, he asks me to pass a material, and we already have a material, so we can just, let's say, plug and play the material right here, right? I'm just gonna, this is a material interface object. We'll get material. So this is a material interface object, and this is just a material object. Okay, so we're gonna have to change the type. So material interface object. Yeah. Let me just right click and refresh so I can actually plug them here, right? I'm gonna actually, I need now a transform, which is something I don't have. I'm just gonna get self, right? And get world transform, plug it right up, compile and save. Nice. And now we're gonna go back to my main mesh here. And on the construction script, I think I got everything right. I'm gonna compile and save. I think that's it. Now let's try. Let's see what happened. So now when the colors they match, look what it happened. So I create another one with the same logic, right? So right now it's a little bit of an overkill, but you understand the idea here is that you can also expose things on spawn and then you pass it through. And that, guys, conclude as our basic blueprint certification on the DevRAM. So basically, this is all the level 1 blueprint things. There will be more advanced things to do as well, but this helps you just to understand, how to go from the basic and how to get your game up and running in seconds. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, any feedback, it's always recommended, especially for new projects like this. And I hope to see you in the new tutorial.